Well, hello and good day to all of you wonderful viewers out there. Hi, I'm Awesome Joe, and thank you guys so much for taking the time of your day to watching another episode of Awesome Joe's Movie Reviews. And today we're going to be talking about the next two episodes in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, episodes 4 and 5. Now, I know you guys are wondering, why am I only reviewing episodes 4 and 5 when episode 6 is just, the final episode is just right around the corner? Well, usually the last episode of a season involving on Disney Plus is usually the one that is jam-packed full of great experiences, and it's just a whole lot to talk about that I don't really find that it has enough sharing time with the other episodes, so it looks like it's just enough capacity to develop just one episode of itself altogether. So that's why we're going to be talking about episodes 4 and 5 here today. And I know I'm a little late to the party here. The last episode, the 6th episode, is just in a couple of days here. Really cannot wait to see how this episode is just going to connect everything all together when it's just that one last one. And this is, from what we know so far, a limited series. So there shouldn't be anything else involving the Obi-Wan story after this last episode. So these episodes are continuously directed by Deborah Chow. She is a fantastic director. She does do a really great job in developing a lot of Star Wars material. But unfortunately, when it comes to the Obi-Wan series itself altogether, I find that the first episode is by far is my favorite out of the bunch, including one in particular, other one that we're going to be talking about here today. So yes, the first episode I admired so much. It was really awesome. But the 4th episode is one that I could say entirely that I was not very overly fond of. I felt like it was a filler episode because that's what we've seen at the ending of the 3rd episode, that Princess Leia Organa gets kidnapped once more again by the Grand, well, not the Grand Inquisitor just yet, but the Inquisitor, the third sister, Reba, which is played by Moses Ingram again. Now I know that there has been a lot of issues in regarding to the actress playing this individual character, and the way that her acting skills are in portraying this character has been a little irritating to our viewers. And in a way, when it comes to this in particular episode, I'd have to say I can actually see what you guys are talking about. I find that this character is starting to get a little bit annoying for me. Because I know that there's something that she's hiding up her sleeves. She has an entirely different agenda away from how she really portrays herself throughout this series. And I know that the way that she interrogates Princess Leia Organa throughout this episode, and including her performances, her actions throughout the entire season, it shows that she is not entirely on the good side, but also she's not also entirely on the bad side. She's very much just on her own side. And there are some questions in this episode and on episode 5 that are revealed, that are answered. To the big questions that were asked throughout the several recent other episodes. But here we are when it comes to episode 4. Like I said, it felt like a really big filler episode. Obi-Wan Kenobi is in the Bacta tank, refreshing his burned wounds from his last conflict, reuniting conflict with Darth Vader at the ending of the 3rd episode. And it's really cool on how he's in the Bacta tank and Anakin, or Darth Vader's in the Bacta tank at the same time, refreshing their memories of their lives together, growing together as like brothers, and then their last conflict with each other, just knowing that they are really rusted, but yet are still they're still capable of having that one last fight between the two before they have their actual fight in A New Hope, Episode 4. So, but you can honestly tell that when it comes to Obi-Wan Kenobi, after his last conflict with Vader, that he's starting to restore his force powers and his lightsaber skills, because he really does pick it up a notch. Because the way that he was confronting Vader the last time, he seemed very rusted. He seemed like there was just no possible way that he could win against Vader, unlike on how he beat Vader on Mustafar, with the way how Anakin was burned to a crisp before being put into the suit. So, but yes, you could honestly tell during his rescue mission, going to find Leia and approaching himself into the Inquisitor's base. You can even see in how there's this Jedi tomb that's going on there. Several Jedi are dead Jedi are actually, I guess, frozen or some sorts. But you would think that you would recognize some of these Jedi characters that are frozen in that tomb room. Unfortunately, from my point of view, I really didn't recognize any of them. And it's sad to see that there was this little youngling Jedi that was frozen up, and I don't know. It was very saddening to see, and just knowing that, man, this is like really dark stuff here. But yeah, I wish I could have seen somebody very familiar. I'm sure they're very familiar to big-time Star Wars fans who watch the Clone Wars or Rebels, so on and so forth. And I'm sure some of those individual characters in the Jedi tomb were very familiar. But for my sake, I didn't happen to recognize any of them. So, Anakin Skywalker, which is Darth Vader, of course, no spoiler there. Returning Hayden Christensen comes back, and the only great thing that I loved about when it came to this episode of Episode 4 is his approach towards the end, when he just immediately approaches the room and force chokes Reba off of disappointment and anger, knowing that she had failed, that they had escaped, and this and that. And I don't know, the way that he just shows his anger, and I don't know, that's just pure Vader right there. I love that. He's just like, he's a big badass, man. I can't really see it. There's some times where I try to look at Darth Vader and say, oh, well, this is actually, Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker. I still can't see it. I can never really point the two together. I guess that's why it's just so hard to recognize the fact in the Star Wars universe that this individual Sith Lord is actually the very famous chosen one, Anakin Skywalker, turned evil. So it's very hard for me to connect the two, having to know that they are the same person. But I'm just like, I just don't see it. But which is good, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing at all. And in the 5th episode, he does this really awesome thing where they're escaping, and Jabin, and he just grabs the ship with the Force and just brings it down and tears the ship apart. And of course, nobody's in that ship, but the other ship they take off. And I don't know, just seeing how his rage, he's just like, he's so close to getting Obi-Wan, getting his exact revenge on him. And, he's ripping the ship apart. He's like, where the hell are you? And it's like, that was just a fascinating take. I really did love that a lot. And something that we did speculate during this entire season was, in fact, that there was going to be a flashback, because we did get some interviews from the two stars of this show, and they speak of how much they just enjoyed spending time together, working with each other at the same time in the same screen, and that was that flashback. We knew it was going to happen because we knew that it was a very big question mark as to why they would bring Hayden Christensen back if he was just going to be in the Vader mask. Well, not only was he going to be Vader without the mask in this season, but he was also going to be part of a flashback. Now, of course, my main problem with this is the fact that, Hayden Christensen is already in his 40s, but the way that they approached him in the flashback is when he was probably 19, 20 years old, in sometime before Attack of the Clones, with his haircut and the hair braid, going in a practice duel against his master Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, but the way that he looked, he's 19, and you could honestly tell that there is no deep fake put into this. There's no de-aging or whatever, whatnot. making him look young. He looks like how he is today, in his 40s. So it was, in a way, it was kind of, it was bothering me for a little bit, but then I just had to tell myself that it's just one of those, you just got to go with it moments. Because, like The Mandalorian, they are funded with cinematic fundings to make those kind of episodes. But unlike when it comes to Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're actually funded in a way on how an actual TV show would be funded. So they don't really have the money to develop, pure reality, making them look exactly like the way they did 17, 20 years ago or so. And also, as you can know in the flashbacks, they are on Coruscant from the way it looks of it. And you know how in the backgrounds of Coruscant, there's always these flying ships going on about. But there's nothing flying about. So it could either be a green screen or, just a poster of the site itself in the background. So that's something that really bothered me, but was it something that really took me out of it? Not entirely, because the way that the flashbacks approached itself, it looked as if though they were going to tell the very reasonings as to why this flashback is taking place, going from flashback to our modern time in the show. But you thought that the whole thing was going to connect to the very reasonings why this is happening. Unfortunately not. The flashbacks just did not have any significant meaning at all whatsoever. And whatever the meaning is, it just doesn't make any sense. It's already something that us viewers are already aware of, and didn't really have anything to do with the episode at all whatsoever. So, in a way, I was kind of disappointed by the flashbacks. I was kind of hoping that there'd be more material rather than that in particular sequence, but unfortunately, we were wrong. Leia Organa, Vivian Lyra Blair, which is also still magnificent. I really do love her portrayal as 10-year-old Leia. The way that she's being interrogated is exactly the same way that Carrie Fisher's Leia would be interrogated, like how we've seen her in Episode 4, A New Hope. She's not giving in, and it's because, of course, she's one with the Force. She's very strong-minded. Reba tries to go through her mind, but apparently, according to Princess Leia, she believes that this is a staring contest. So that was very funny. But yeah, it was really great getting to see how wonderfully well her character is, the way that Miss Blair portrays the character. So it was really great. And at the ending of Episode 4, of course, there is a tracker put on her droid that Reba puts in that leads on to Episode 5. And she always continues to keep her character separate from, the lore of the story. It's like just to avoid breaking canon. Because remember, her character is not really in full development until we get to see her approach in the original trilogy. So as of now, it's just the fact that she's kidnapped and she's a part of this big thing, but on the sidelines, there is no attention onto her just yet. Other than the fact that she is a princess and daughter of a senator, and that's about it. She has no other significant importance, no idea to anyone of the fact that she is in fact Darth Vader's daughter. So none of that comes into play until sometime in Return of the Jedi. So, but yeah, she always gets put to the sideline, and that's fine, because there's something when it comes to prequel stories, according to Star Wars, is that there's always that fear of breaking canon. If something happens in the prequels, it affects the original trilogy, and it just doesn't make any sense at all. And we're going to be talking more of that later on down the road here. One of my personal favorite characters when it comes to this series is this new character, Tala, played by Indira Durith. And she is just magnificent. She made her appearance in the last episode, the third episode, and she makes her appearance as well in Episode 4 and in Episode 5. I love the way that she portrays her superior performance in particular scene, just to gain access into the Inquisitor base and helping Obi-Wan get into that base to rescuing Leia. I loved her performance in that sequence. And then in Episode 5, it was a very sad scene to see in how she gets blasted down and she has to make this sacrifice to killing herself to save everyone else. It was sad to see because she is my personal favorite in this series, and it was sad to see her go. But we already knew that this was going to happen because when it comes to prequel stories, you have to follow the lore that if you're not in the original trilogy, chances are we're never going to see you again because you either died or you're off doing your own journey. And so this is what happens with her. I wish she would have had her own journey. If anything, I would love to see her in her own series because I feel like that there's much more story in there for her to develop. So, but she made the ultimate sacrifice of killing herself off to save everyone else, and that's what makes her, justifiably wonderful as her character. The fifth brother, son Kang, from the Fast and Furious movies, just make a little appearance in these episodes, but I feel like it's a shortage of screen time, and I think that his character probably might have some possible usage in the final episode. I don't know what happens to his character in animated series, unlike the Grand Inquisitor, Rupert Friend. But if he doesn't appear in anything else other than the Obi-Wan series, I feel like he needs more screen time. He needs more of a significant importance to the story, giving a lot of anticipation to his character. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. I really do admire the character very much. I just wish we could get to see more of him. Haja comes back, which is played by Kumail Nanjiani. We all know him from the Eternals, and I love how the way that he is a very comedic and clumsy-ish behavior sort of character, and he's a big name right now in the world of Hollywood. But the thing is, he only shows up in the series for one episode, so we needed to get to see more of him and more screen time usage. So, which of course they did, and it's always great getting to see him. There's just times where it irritates me that an actor always continuously plays the same person. And I find that the very importance of being an actor is being like a comedic person, playing different sort of characters, unrecognizable to your actual character. So I would really, if I were to see him in different projects in the near future, I would love to see, what else he's capable of bringing out to the table onto the stage. James Earl Jones comes back as well too, playing the voice of Darth Vader. I enjoy his voice, and just knowing that it's original material from the original trilogy, and it always makes me question. I try not to think about it too much, but I always wonder what would ever happen to the Darth Vader character when James Earl Jones passes. What would happen to the voice? Now there are some different irritations to adaptations to the voice that's not James Earl Jones, but still comes out more like a Darth Vader voice. But the originality is just going to be so missed when Mr. Jones passes. And I just don't want to think about that because he's still a fantastic actor, and I love hearing his voice. It's very iconic and epic, and I can never get enough of his voice. And I hope that there are so many other more Darth Vader projects for him to portray that voice in the near future. So one of the many surprises of when it comes to this series that actually wasn't really a big surprise, honestly. The Grand Inquisitor, Rupert Friend, is actually still alive. So a big question that was in everybody's heads was, now like I said, I don't watch the animated show, but but as we all know from what I found out is that the Grand Inquisitor dies in the animated series. But then he also gets killed off in this show. So who's to say, when is this the actual Grand Inquisitor that dies in the animated show, or is this the actual Grand Inquisitor in the Obi-Wan series? So it didn't make any sense. But here he is, alive and well, and apparently the Grand Inquisitor and Darth Vader were aware of Reba's revenge and her going against them, and her psychological plan against them. So, and it's like there were just so many chances for them all to just, kill each other in the long run rather than waiting 10 years for them to, finally reveal what's behind the curtain. But yeah, it's just, I really think that sort of surprise was really something that everybody was already aware of. And before I continue on, there's just a big question mark that is in my mind, and I'm sure it's in everyone else's minds too, is where is Qui Gon Jin? We know that Liam Neeson has signed on to be a part of this project, and we know that he's going to show up one way or another. There's only one episode left, everybody, and it's like, where in the world is Qui Gon Jin? You know, it's like we've been avoiding his character for the longest time. He's got to show up in this last episode. He really has to show up in this. If he does not show up in this last episode, I'm gonna be completely disappointed with this series. So far, I'm okay with the show. Like I said, the first episode is my most personal favorite, and when it comes to the 5th episode, the latest one, I like it next to the first episode. We get another character, Roken, which is played by O'Shea Jackson Jr., which is actually Ice Cube's son. And like I was mentioning before, when it comes to Kumail Nanjiani, is that you know, when it comes to being an actor, I would really like it a lot better if you really you know, change your physical appearance to become the character that you signed on to be, and instead of just being yourself. You know, I know that, like, say for example, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a big time name in the world of Hollywood. But he, in a way, it kind of, and the one thing that's irritating me about him is that he continuously plays the same guy, and you know, like I said, he's a good actor, you know, and he's a big name right now. It's already been 20 years, and he's still out there. But I just wish that he could be somebody else, somebody that you could honestly say, I didn't even recognize him as The Rock. I recognized him as that character that he's playing. And this is what this actor, O'Shea Jackson Jr., was doing. He's just being himself, and you know, I really do admire his conservative behavior in the series, and being a part of this project. But I really like it if he would, you know, portray himself to being somebody else rather than just himself. And then of course Bail Organa returns, played by Jimmy Smits, and I hate the fact that they sent this reckless voice message thing, whatever, and Reba finds it at the end, possibly maybe breaking canon. Who's to know, and what's to say what's going to happen in the final episode? I don't know. I'm just like thinking, why did you even send this? You're really jeopardizing everybody and everything in the galaxy, and you know, it just really wasn't worth it. But yet, to the fact of giving Reba her next, you know, sinister plan against Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. So, you know, it's, you know, because the thing is, when it comes to Luke Skywalker, him being 10 years old, he doesn't know anything about, you know, what a Jedi is, what a lightsaber is. You know, all he knows is that what goes off-world, and because he's just this isolated character on the planet of Tatooine, being a farm boy, and then that's about it. So, if Reba makes an appearance and, you know, tries to have Luke Skywalker, you know, as a child hostage with a lightsaber against Obi-Wan and Vader, whatever her plan is, it's going to break canon. It's just not going to make any sense to Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker in Episode 4, A New Hope. It wouldn't make any sense at all. So, that, you know, and as much as I admire and love watching these shows, no matter what timeline they are in the Star Wars universe, in a way, I'm kind of already done. I'm done with prequels already. I would love to just move forward and see what else they have in store, rather than just stay in the same timeline that we have been in the last 40 somewhat years. So yeah, everybody, when it comes to episode 4, I had to give it a 56. It's probably the lowest episode that I dislike in this entire series. And of course, like I said, when it comes to episode 5, I find that it is one of the best besides the first episode, giving it a 73%. So I really did love, I still love the series, don't get me wrong. It's great getting to seeing Ewan McGregor and at what he does, you know, returning back to his character and being Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, but anyways, you guys, that's my review for episodes 4 and 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi series that is available now on Disney+. What did you guys think? Have you guys checked them out? Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, please feel free to leave it down in the comment section in the bottom. Let's have an awesome time talking about this TV show or any TV shows that you like to talk about in general, because I love to talk about movies and TV shows, but most importantly, I love to talk about them with you. And don't forget that you can check out some more of my videos on Facebook and on YouTube. Just look me up, and Awesome Joe Movie Reviews. Don't forget to click on that like and subscribe button there, everybody. I really do appreciate everybody's support in my channel, because it's just a huge personal hobby of mine, and I love sharing it it amongst all of you wonderful viewers out there. There is so many projects ahead of me, and I'm really working my very best in having to take care of every single one of them. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to Moon Knight. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to Stranger Things 4. And, you know, there's just so many that I really do regret having to pass on, that I just, you know, there's just so much that's ahead of us. You got Minions, The Rise of Gru. You've got Thor, Love and Thunder. You've got Nope that's coming up as well, too. You've got Elvis that's coming out this week. Black Phone, I think that's what the movie is called. So yeah, a lot of it is happening right now, and of course the final episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, episode 6, and of course Miss Marvel also, that's available right now on Disney Plus. So stay tuned for all of that, everybody. There's so much ahead of us as we speak right now. I'm Awesome Joe, everybody. Keep on living the dream, and as always, stay awesome. Thanks you guys once more again, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Bye.